The big alien ship hung in space like a giant knife. It was 10 times bigger than the small human ship. Commander Do-hyun stood on the bridge of his ship, the Swift Blade. He watched the human ship on his screen. Such a simple ship, he said to himself. His 6 eyes blinked one after another. These humans must be a weak species. The aliens had 4 arms and hard shell skin. They looked like a mix between crabs and tall humans. They had found Earth only 3 months ago. They had been watching humans from far away. "Commander, the human ship is sending us a message," said Officer Ji-woo. She sat at the computer, her claws tapping on the glowing buttons. "Show me," Do-hyun said. The screen lit up. A human man with black hair looked at them. He wore a blue uniform with some small badges. "I am Captain Tae-woo Kim from Earth. Our ship is the Horizon. We come as friends and want to talk with your people." Do-hyun made a clicking sound with his mouth parts. He found it funny that such simple beings wanted to talk as equals. Their ship was so basic. Their weapons were like toys compared to his. "Captain Kim, I am Commander Do-hyun. Your ship will be brought into our ship for checking. This is normal for first meetings." Captain Kim's face got serious. "We are happy to share information, but we cannot let you take our ship without proper talks." First, Do-hyun cut off the call. He turned to his crew. "These humans need to learn they are not important. Use the pulling beam to bring them in." A blue light shot out from the Swift Blade and caught the human ship. It pulled the smaller ship into the big hangar. The humans could not escape. Security Chief Min-hee and 10 guards went to meet the humans. They all carried energy guns that could cut through metal. The human ship's door opened with a hissing sound. 5 humans walked out. Captain Kim was in front. They wore simple blue uniforms and had small guns on their belts. "Put your weapons on the floor," Min-hee said through her translator box. Captain Kim stood tall. "We have these only to protect ourselves. As people from Earth, we ask, 'Put your weapons down now,'" Min-hee said louder. She pointed her big gun at them. The other guards did the same. One of the humans, a young man named Hyun-woo, got scared. His hand moved toward his gun. Maybe he was just nervous. Maybe he thought they would shoot. But Min-hee did not wait to find out. Her gun made a high sound. A bright green beam shot out. It hit Hyun-woo's shoulder and cut his arm clean off. The arm fell to the floor with a thud. Hyun-woo screamed and fell down, blood coming from where his arm had been. "Hyun-woo!" Captain Kim shouted. He ran to his friend, who was now on the floor shaking. Commander Do-hyun walked in just then. He saw the human on the floor and the cut-off arm. "Take the hurt one to the medical room," he said, not caring much about the human's pain. "Lock up the others until we decide if they are dangerous." The guards grabbed the 4 humans. As they were being taken away, Captain Kim looked back at Do-hyun. His eyes were full of anger that Do-hyun had never seen before. "You will be sorry for this," Kim said in a quiet voice. "You have no idea what you have started." Do-hyun just clicked his mouth parts again. These humans were weak. What could they possibly do against his mighty ships? Later that day, Dr. So-hee looked at the human arm on her table. "Interesting creatures," she said to her helper Junho. "Their bodies are simple but strong in their own way." "Should we try to put the arm back on?" Junho asked. "Yes, Commander Do-hyun wants the human fixed for study," she said. In another part of the ship, the 4 humans sat in a cell with clear walls. Captain Kim looked calm, but inside, he was thinking hard. "They cut off Hyun-woo's arm like it was nothing," said Gina, the ship's computer expert. She was trying not to cry. "These aliens think we're weak," said Sun-ho, the engine expert. "What can we do? We're trapped." Captain Kim reached into his boot and pulled out a small, flat device no bigger than his thumbnail. "What's that?" asked Yoonji, the science officer. "Our secret weapon," said Captain Kim. "They didn't find it because it was off. It's an emergency sender that works through anything." He pressed it, and it glowed with a soft blue light. "This will send a message all the way to Earth. It will tell them what happened and where we are." "But our ships are too small to fight these aliens," said Sunho. Captain Kim smiled a little. Who said I'm calling our regular ships? He spoke into the device. This is Captain Kim. Aliens have taken us. They shot off Hyunwoo's arm using code Red Phoenix. Authentication 7832 Alpha. The device blinked 3 times and then went dark. What's code Red Phoenix? Asked Gina. Something the public doesn't know about, said Captain Kim. Something we hoped we'd never need to use. On Earth, deep under the ice of Antarctica, alarms started ringing in a secret base. People in military uniforms ran to their stations. Admiral Yuna stood in the control room. Her face was serious as she read the message on her screen. Is it real? She asked. Yes, Admiral. The code is correct, said her helper. Admiral Yuna took a deep breath. Wake them up, all of them. Around her, huge doors in the floor began to open. From below came row after row of black ships. They looked like nothing else humans had ever built. They seemed to swallow light instead of reflect it. These were the Phantom ships, Earth's secret protectors, built with technology from a crashed alien ship found 50 years ago. They had been kept hidden, waiting for the day humans might need them. That day had come. Launch all ships, ordered Admiral Yuna. Full weapons, find our people. As the first ship rose into the air, someone asked, Should we tell the world government? No, said Admiral Yuna. Code Red Phoenix means we act now. Explain later. She looked at the map showing where Captain Kim's message came from. They shot off one of our people's arm, she said. Let's show these aliens what happens when you hurt humans. In the detention cell aboard the Swift Blade, Captain Tae-woo Kim sat with his remaining crew members. Communications Specialist Gina Park, Engineer Sunho Lee, and Science Officer Yoonji Kang. Their weapons and communication devices had been confiscated, and Hyunwoo had been taken to what they claimed was a medical bay. They severed his arm, Gina whispered, her voice trembling with a mixture of horror and rage. Just like that. No warning, no mercy. Tae-woo nodded grimly. These aliens clearly don't value life the way we do, but they've made a grave miscalculation. How so? Asked Sunho. We're trapped on their ship, outgunned, outnumbered, and outmatched technologically. A thin smile crossed Tae-woo's face as he reached into his boot and pulled out a small, flat device no larger than his thumbnail. What is that? Yoonji leaned forward. Emergency quantum transmitter, Tae-woo replied. Designed to work even through most known shielding technologies. The aliens didn't detect it because it remains dormant until activated. But our ships can't possibly stand against theirs, Gina pointed out. Even if you can send a distress call, what good will it do? Tae-woo's eyes glinted with determination. Who said anything about our ships? Meanwhile, in the medical bay, Hyunwoo lay on an examination table, drifting in and out of consciousness as alien medical officers examined his severed limb with clinical detachment. Fascinating biology, remarked Medical Chief Sohee. Relatively simple compared to our own, but remarkably resilient. The nervous system continues to show activity even after separation from the main body. Her assistant Junho nodded. Should we attempt reattachment? It would be a simple procedure with our technology. Sohee considered this. Yes, High Commander Do-yun will want the specimen intact for further study. Prepare the neural reconnection sequence. Back in the detention cell, Tae-woo had activated the quantum transmitter. It glowed softly in his palm as he recorded a brief message. This is Captain Tae-woo Kim of the EEV Horizon. First contact with alien species has turned hostile. 1 crew member injured, arm severed. We are being held against our will. Invoking Protocol Omega. Authentication code. Delta 793 Echo. Coordinates to follow. He pressed the transmitter's surface, sending the message across vast distances through quantum entanglement, a technology the Confederation clearly hadn't anticipated humans possessing. What's Protocol Omega? Sunho asked. Tae-woo's expression was grim. Something the public doesn't know about, something we hoped we'd never have to use. On Earth, deep beneath the Antarctic ice shelf, a facility unknown to all but the highest, Levels of government received Taewoo's transmission. Alarms blared as personnel rushed to their stations. Admiral Yuna Choi, commander of Earth's most classified military project, read the message on her screen with a clenched jaw. "Authenticate," she ordered. "Code confirmed, Admiral," her aide responded. "It's genuine." Admiral Choi took a deep breath. "Wake them up, all of them." Around her, massive hangar doors began to slide open, revealing row upon row of sleek black vessels, ships of a design unlike anything else in Earth's known fleet. Their hulls seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, and strange energy patterns pulsed beneath their surfaces. These were the Phantoms, humanity's secret defense against the stars. Built using technology recovered from a crashed alien ship decades ago, they had been kept hidden, waiting for the day humanity might face a threat from beyond. That day had come. "Begin deployment sequence," Admiral Choi commanded. "All ships, full tactical array." As the first Phantom rose silently from its berth, its systems humming to life, a technician approached the Admiral. "Ma'am, should we inform the United Earth? Government?" Choi shook her head. "Protocol Omega bypasses standard chain of command. We launch now, inform later." She looked at the tactical display showing the coordinates from Taewoo's transmission. "They shot off one of our people's arms. Let's show these aliens what happens when you wound humanity." High Commander Do-hyun was reviewing the preliminary analysis of the human biology when Security Officer Min-hee burst onto the bridge. "Commander, unidentified vessels approaching at high velocity." Do-hyun's head snapped up. "Impossible. Display." The main view screen activated, showing a swarm of sleek black ships cutting through space toward the swift blade. Their design was unlike anything in the Confederation database. Smooth, predatory, with no visible propulsion system. "How many?" Do-hyun demanded. "Sensors detect 37 vessels," replied Lieutenant Ji-woo, her voice tense. "They're not responding to hails." "Impossible," Do-hyun repeated. "These humans are a primitive species. They couldn't possibly—" "Energy spike," shouted the tactical officer. "They're charging weapons." Before Do-hyun could issue orders, the first salvo hit. The swift blade shuddered violently as shields that had withstood attacks from the most advanced species in the known galaxy flickered and failed in multiple sections. "Damage report!" Do-hyun bellowed over the blaring alarms. "Hull breaches on decks 5 through 9. Weapon systems compromised. Shield generators operating at 30% capacity." Do-hyun staggered as another impact rocked the ship. "How? How is this possible?" In the detention cell, Taewoo and his crew felt the impacts and exchanged knowing glances. "They're here," Taewoo said simply. The cell door slid open as the ship's emergency systems activated during the attack. Taewoo led his team into the corridor, quickly orienting himself. "We need to find Hyunwoo and get to our ship," he said. They encountered minimal resistance as they moved through the corridors. Most of the crew was responding to the attack. When they reached the medical bay, they found Hyunwoo conscious, his arm reattached but still heavily sedated. "Captain," he mumbled as Taewoo and Sunho helped him to his feet. "We're getting out of here," Taewoo assured him. "Can you walk?" Hyunwoo nodded weakly, testing his reattached limb. "It works better than before," he said with wonder. "Thank the aliens later," Yoonji said dryly. "Right now we need to move." As they made their way to the hangar, the ship continued to shudder under the assault. Emergency lighting flickered, and occasionally they passed the bodies of Confederation crew members who had been caught in hull breaches or electrical fires. On the bridge, Do-hyun watched in disbelief as his mighty flagship was being systematically dismantled by human vessels. "Sir, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from their weapons," reported Lieutenant Ji-woo. "The technology appears to be Zarth in origin." Do-hyun's blood ran cold. The Zarth were an ancient species that had vanished thousands of years ago, leaving behind only fragments of their advanced technology. How had humans acquired it? "Sir, the human prisoners have escaped and are heading for their vessel." Do-hyun slammed his fist on his command console. "Stop them. We need them for..." leverage, but it was too late. Taewoo and his crew had reached the horizon and were powering up its systems. As the hangar doors began to close on emergency lockdown, Taewoo guided the ship through the narrowing gap. Once clear of the swift blade, he opened a communication channel. "This is Captain Taewoo Kim to Earth Forces. The Horizon crew is secure. I repeat, we are secure." A face appeared on his view screen. Admiral Yuna Choi, her expression stern but relieved. "Good to see you alive, Captain. Fall back behind our defensive line. We'll handle the rest." Taewoo hesitated. "Admiral, with respect, there may be a diplomatic solution." "They shot your crewman's arm off without provocation, Captain," Choi interrupted. "Diplomacy is no longer an option." As the Horizon retreated to safety, the Earth vessels intensified their attack. The swift blade, once the pride of the Confederation fleet, was now crippled and drifting. High Commander Do-hyun, realizing the battle was lost, opened an emergency channel to Confederation Command. "This is High Commander Do-hyun. We have encountered a species with unexpected technological capabilities and hostile intent, requesting immediate reinforcements. I repeat, the humans possess Zarth technology and are—" His transmission cut off as another blast rocked the ship, destroying the main communication array. Across space, the message had already been received. The Stellar Confederation, for the first time in centuries, was facing a legitimate threat. The war had begun. 3 months after the destruction of the Swift Blade, the conflict known as the Human Confederation War raged across multiple star systems. What had begun as a single act of aggression had escalated into a full-scale interstellar conflict that shocked the galaxy. On the Confederation capital world of Eridani Prime, Supreme Leader Young-ho convened an emergency council of the 5 highest-ranking commanders. "How is it possible," Young-ho demanded, "that these humans, a species unknown to us until recently, now control 7 of our outer systems and have destroyed 1/3 of our fleet?" Strategic Commander Myung, her scales dulled with stress, brought up a holographic display. "Their technology, Supreme Leader. It's unlike anything we've encountered. Analysis confirms it's derived from Zarth artifacts, but modified in ways our scientists don't fully understand." "And their tactics," added Fleet Commander Dowan. "They're unpredictable. They don't follow conventional strategic doctrine. When we adapt to one approach, they switch to something entirely different." Young-ho's inner eyelids flickered in frustration. "Have we made any progress in diplomatic channels?" "They refuse direct communication," replied Diplomatic Envoy Jihye. "They relay only one message: unconditional withdrawal from all human-claimed space and reparations for the assault on EEV. Horizon crew, unacceptable," Young-ho hissed. "We cannot show such weakness." At that moment, the chamber security systems activated as a proximity alarm sounded. "Supreme Leader," a guard rushed in. "Human vessels have been detected in orbit. They've somehow bypassed all our defensive grids before anyone could react." The building shook violently as precision strikes hit key military installations across the capital. The council chamber's viewports showed black ships streaking through the sky, their weapons leaving trails of destruction. "How did they find our homeworld?" Young-ho demanded. "The coordinates are our most guarded secret." In Earth's Antarctic Command Center, Admiral Yuna Choi stood before a group of international leaders, explaining the latest phase of the operation. "Our ship successfully penetrated their capital defenses using the phase shift technology," she reported. "Precision strikes have disabled their primary military command structure with minimal civilian casualties." United Earth President Junho Park nodded gravely. "And the diplomatic package?" "Delivered directly to their leadership bunker," Choi confirmed. "They know we could have destroyed their entire government but chose not to. The message should be clear." On Eridani Prime, Supreme Leader Young-ho and his council had been evacuated to a secure facility deep beneath the surface. There they found a single human standing calmly in their emergency command center, Captain Taewoo Kim, his restored arm now covered by his uniform sleeve. "How did you get in here?" Young-ho demanded as guards surrounded the human. Taewoo smiled thinly. "The same way we found your homeworld, tracked your fleet movements, and bypassed your defenses. We understand your technology better than you do." He placed a small device on the conference table. It projected a hologram showing Earth's Phantom fleet in position around critical Confederation worlds. 3 months ago, you shot off my crewman's arm because you thought we were primitive and weak, Taewoo said evenly. You judged us by our exploration vessel and assumed that was the extent of our capability. That was a mistake. What do you want? Young-ho asked, his voice hoarse. Peace, Taewoo replied simply. But on our terms. Humanity had hoped for friendly relations with galactic civilizations. Instead, we received cruelty. Now you understand what we're capable of when provoked. He gestured to the hologram, which shifted to display a treaty document. These are our conditions. They are non-negotiable. You have 1 standard day to consider them. With that, Taewoo touched a device on his wrist and vanished in a shimmer of light. Teleportation technology that the Confederation had never successfully developed. 1 day later, in a ceremony broadcast across both human and Confederation space, Supreme Leader Young-ho signed the Treaty of Earth, formally ending the conflict. The terms were harsh. The Confederation would withdraw from a significant portion of space now claimed by humanity, pay substantial reparations, and share specific technologies as a guarantee against future aggression. As the ceremony concluded, Young-ho approached Captain Taewoo, who represented Earth alongside Admiral Choi. I must know, Young-ho said quietly. The Zarth technology. How did your kind acquire it? Taewoo exchanged a glance with Admiral Choi before responding. We didn't, he said. What you call Zarth technology is our own development. We reversed engineered some concepts from a crashed scout ship, one of yours actually, from 2 centuries ago. The rest we created ourselves. Young-ho's inner eyelids flickered in shock. Impossible. Such advancements would take millennia. For you, perhaps, Taewoo replied. But there's something you should understand about humans. We adapt, we innovate, and most importantly, he flexed his reattached arm, we respond to threats with overwhelming force. As the Confederation delegation departed, Admiral Choi turned to Taewoo. Do you think they've learned their lesson? Taewoo watched the alien ships depart, remembering the moment when Hyunwoo's arm had fallen to the deck, and the cold dismissal in Commander Do-hyun's eyes. I think the entire galaxy has learned something about humanity today, he said. Never judge a species by its exploration vessels, and never, ever shoot a human's arm off. In the decades that followed, the Human Confederation War became a cautionary tale taught in academies across the galaxy. It marked humanity's dramatic entrance onto the interstellar stage and forever changed how emerging species were approached and treated. All because one alien officer had underestimated what would happen after they shot a human's arm off.